Welcome back, everyone, to OpenLine on Veterans Day. Just a great OpenLine. We're hearing inspirational stories, really, from veterans. And we now have with us Gino Griganti. I said that right, I hope. Human Hug Project.
Right.
Also, we still have Rusty Carroll with Operation Finally Home. Thank you both for being here. And so, Gino, what's your background?
My background is I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I served for 8 years with a tour in Afghanistan. And September 11th is my birthday, so I was actually deployed with the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit on September 11th. So when that happened, we were immediately sent to Pakistan. So we were first response for 9/11.
Wow.
So it was a bad birthday for me.
Sure was. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you came back and you started something called the Human Hug Project.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's correct.
So how did that come about?
It came about, when I came back from Afghanistan, I didn't have much time left in the Marines before getting out. So it kind of came back, and then I detached from my unit, and my wife and I moved away from the base, and I entered into probably about a 10-year downward spiral of PTSD and depression. And as I would seek treatment with the VA, and I was on the prescription medication, I had alcohol, a lot of therapy. Nothing was really working, and I was kind of at I called it rock bottom with PTSD and my will to just keep going on. And I reconnected with Ian by accident. He had a dream. And in his dream, he was traveling the country with a free hug sign. And his story was he was also going through 10 years of depression and anxiety and PTSD. He served in Iraq. Around the same time I was coming back from Afghanistan, he was getting ready to go to Iraq. So our 10-year struggle with PTSD was very similar, and we were friends in the Marine Corps. So when we reconnected and he told me about his dream, and how he started to travel the country with the hug sign, and he was getting just this immense feeling of joy, and he was getting love back as an emotion. This is one of the things you lose in combat, is your ability to love. It's just hate and fear to survive. And so missing that love connection kind of was what we were lacking in that. And we reconnected together in Austin. He was on his hug tour, just setting up wherever he could on the street, and we reconnected with him. And I had a hug story also, and mine took place at the VA. So after we reconnected and shared our stories about what he was doing, and my hug story started with the VA social worker who I was in the emergency room at the VA, and they were going to give me more medication, and I was just really not wanting the medication because I had been on and off of it for so long. I didn't like what it was doing to me and how I was dependent on it. And a social worker offered me a hug. She says, you know, I don't normally do this, but you look like you could use a hug. Can I give you a hug? And I gave her a hug, and it just did something to me. It turned a light back on inside of me, hope. I felt that love connection with someone other than my wife, you know. It was kind of somebody cares at the VA, and it made me feel inspired to get better. And she said to me, you know, you're not okay now, but you will be okay. And after that experience and sharing that with Ian, we decided maybe this is a gift that was given to us, this human connection, and it was something that we were lacking for so long, and that we were struggling to find in that 10 years of PTSD. And it was given to us, and let's try to give it back to the vets. And that was kind of the birth of Human Hug Project. That was in April, and we went to the Nashville VA. We talked to the public affairs and the voluntary services, and we said, hey, we're Marine Corps vets, and we're here to give out free hugs because it helps us heal from our trauma. And we're doing it because it's giving us a sense of brotherhood. It's reconnecting us with our brothers and sisters that we didn't have once we got out. That's kind of the biggest sense of loss, not just the people you lose in combat, but the camaraderie you lose when you get out. You're with everyone together while you're in, and when you get out, you're kind of alone with all of that you experience.
So you go to the VA. Do you wear the T-shirt?
Yes,
you're wearing?
we wear these. These are kind of a Hug-A-Vet, and we make signs. The signs are very important. The signs, Ian and I, we write Hug-A-Vet on the sign because that we are the vets that are there giving hugs to other vets. And my wife and our friend Alejo, they hold a free hug sign because they're the other 99% of the population that you were talking about before. They're the victims of PTSD on the home front. Everything that my wife had to go through with my trauma, it kind of, she has her own trauma to that, and how she's had to evolve, in our relationship, and how to deal with my trauma, and how we've grown together. So she's a very important part of what we're doing. It's not just vets hugging vets, it's everyone hugging vets. That's kind of our mission, is to get the whole country to be a part of this movement, and give that love back to the vets, and hear their stories. Hearing a story is one of the most important parts of what we do. Is we give initial hug, and then listening to them tell their story. Like you were saying earlier, all you have to do is listen and let them do the talking, and they're going to tell you exactly what's wrong with them, and how they feel, how they felt trauma. Or
so
how
what kind of reaction do you get? You're there at the VA, and you're wearing a T-shirt, and you got the sign. Is it universally accepted, or are there some that go, no?
It's not universally accepted, which is kind of, we have developed a strategy, and my wife Erin, she's here with us. She's very beautiful, she's tall, and she's a female. So she's our secret weapon.
That's smart.
She is. And it's kind of, we'll go into a waiting room. We usually start in the lobby of the hospital where everyone's quiet. The mood is kind of, it's very, no one's there for good news. They're at the hospital. And so we kind of come in and we just make an announcement that we're there, and we kind of let people listen to what we have to say. We tell them what we're doing, and we kind of let them approach us, and then it starts a chain reaction. The hug is very powerful. When people see it in action and they see, oh wow, they just embraced, and now they have grin from ear to ear, and you just experience the joy even if you're not participating in the hug. And then the stories that come out, other vets, they want to engage in that story. They want to tell their stories, so that it kind of starts a chain reaction in the room, and then before you know it, we've hugged everyone in the room. You have Vietnam vets talking to other Vietnam vets, and they realize that they were in the same unit or in the same part of Vietnam, and so now they're talking, and it just leaves a sense of camaraderie in the waiting room, and it's very magical.
There's actually a physical transformation.
There is. It's a complete transformation.
You talk about the notion of rock bottom, that you hit rock bottom, and I've heard that from others. Is your rock bottom similar to what other veterans have experienced? And is that something you all talk about? I mean, what about that part of it?
My rock bottom was, I was dealing with a lot of my PTSD stuff from combat, and I kind of started to work through that, and then I had some other kind of trauma come up. I lost my mother, and I had a devastating hand injury, and so I was faced with more trauma, but it was different this time. It was kind of, I just really was losing hope, and I didn't feel a connection with the VA hospital, with anyone, with the treatment I was getting, and I didn't know what else to do. When I think of, when people say they're suicidal, I don't think they actually want to commit suicide. They just don't want to live with the pain that they have anymore, and that's where I was at. I was like, I'm a strong person, I'm a warrior, I'm a Marine, but this pain is so great, I don't know how much longer I can take it. And so when you get to that point, that's when it gets real. That's when I call rock bottom, because I'm having those thoughts that I can't live anymore, and that's that's not who I wanted to be. That's not where I wanted to be. And I was ashamed of those feelings, and I felt guilt for combat and for what we had done there, and it was just an overwhelming sense of shame and guilt and self-hatred. And it wasn't until Susan in the VA hospital and
okay, all right,
yeah.
we're gonna have to take a break, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna play one more thing. But okay, well, we're not gonna do that. But I want to thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you're doing, and it's just very inspirational. We'll take a break. Be back right after this. That was